good. It's good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Where am I? There we go. All right. So, new year, new theme. Our theme for the year, oneness, a day at a time. And here at the Center of Peace, I like to use spiritual principles to help get us anchored in the message and everything that we've done already today. So the spiritual principles, also titled What We Believe, was penned by Ernest Holmes almost some 100 years ago. So you can do a search online for Ernest Holmes and What We Believe to get a copy of the principles, or you can download the QR code that's in the back of the chair. You can also find the spiritual principles there, okay? So this week we are dealing with spiritual principle number 1, and it says, we believe in God, the living spirit, almighty one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Spiritual principle number 8. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. Spiritual principle number 4, we believe that heaven is within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And certainly, let me bring our attention to the fact simply that we believe. We believe. We believe. We believe. Simply, we believe. One step at a time to heaven, our theme for the month of January. So this month, we are taking time to look at the foundational teachings found in the Science of Mind textbook written by Ernest Holmes. Now, when I say the foundational teachings, what I'm saying is that we're taking the time to look at the foundational teachings that's found in any metaphysical teaching, not just the science of mind, but any mystical teaching. What is metaphysics? Metaphysics is the study of the interaction between matter and energy. It's the study of the interaction between what is visible and invisible. It's the study of the interaction between us, our relationship with that which is eternal, infinite, invisible, and everywhere. It's our study of our relationship to the thing itself, our relationship to love, our relationship to life. That's what metaphysics is. And our theme for January, one step at a time to heaven. And what is heaven? Heaven is us opening to a greater experience of the good that is available. Us opening to and having an experience of the good that is at hand. The thing about heaven is that you don't have to wait. Heaven is a state of consciousness, and we can experience this good now. So let us take a minute. This is how we do this. Just allow yourself to begin to feel what it's like to be loved. And now start to allow yourself to feel what it would feel like in your life to have all your needs met. To feel the presence of love. Feel it. Feel it. Become open to it. Become available to it. Feel it. That's heaven. That's heaven. You don't have to go and search for it. Just begin to feel it. So, this experience of goodness, this good that we talk about that's ever available to us, Ernest Holmes says that we must instill into our mind the fundamental proposition that good is without bounds. There's no limits to it. It's not just for them. It's not just for them. It's for all of us. Not some of it is available to you and some of it available to me. All of it is available to me and all of it is available to you. Let us instill in our minds this truth. It is not bound and it is without limits. One step at a time to heaven. Step one. Last week we started with the introduction to the foundational teachings of the science of mind, the thing itself. And what we surmised, what we came to agreement upon is that step one, trust. Trust. You have to trust that God, the thing itself, that love, this absolute and infinite intelligence, you have to trust that it is. Not only do you have to trust that it is, you have to trust what it is. But in not being able to trust that it is, we forget who we are. So we have to trust that it is, and we have to trust what it is. And sometimes we forget. We do. We forget that it is, and sometimes we forget what it is. So, to trust what it is, we said that what it is that it is creative. All the teachings, all the religions, all the faith traditions, all the philosophers, all the people who have these great minds, the mystics, all can agree that whatever it is, it's creative. So we have to trust that it is love, it is intelligent, it is infinite, it is without bounds, it is without limits, and we have to trust that it is creative. When we begin to trust these things, we start to lose our sense of separation. No longer are we separate and apart from what it is. We start to lose our sense of separation. We stop feeling like I have to do it all for myself, and we stop feeling like I have to do it all by myself. As a result of trusting that it is and trusting what it is. When we start to trust that it is and what it is, then we start to trust what we are. This is called truth. This is the truth that they talk about that will set you free. When you start to accept for yourself and trust that it is and what it is, and that you and I are what it is, set free. Set free to create whatever it is that you are desiring to create in your life. It's the truth that sets you free. In the Science of Mind textbook on page 38, in part 2 of the introduction, Ernest Holmes says that we are thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there is flowing through us a creative something. Call it whatever you want to call it. It is the sum total of all our thought, will, purpose, and belief. It creates a tendency in the law that causes it to react to us according to the sum total of that belief. Ignorance of this law excuses no one from its effects. If then certain specific ways of thought and belief have produced limitations, other beliefs will change them. We must learn to believe. The approach should be direct and it should be specific. He says, you and I, we have at our disposal limitless power to create. Limitless power to create. That whatever we've created so far in our lives, whatever we've experienced so far in our lives, that's just the beginning of it, right? The love that you have experienced so far in your life, the joy that you've experienced so far in your life, this sense of wholeness that you've experienced so far in your life, the abundance that you've experienced so far in your life, just the beginning, right? In other words, you think you know love? You don't know love. You think you know joy? You don't know joy. You think you know peace? You don't know peace. You think you know what it is to live an abundant and prosperous life, an abundant life, where there's more love and more joy than you can even begin to imagine? No words to describe it? You think you know, but you don't know. There's that much more. It's infinite, limitless, boundless. This is true because all is available to us. Not some of it, but all of it. And we have to trust that we have the power to create this greater experience. We have to trust it. But it's not easy to trust. There's the problem. It's not easy to trust that all is available to me now, especially in the midst of our day-to-day experiences. It can be very, very difficult to trust. And so we say things like, I can't see it. I can't see that happening. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's hard to trust what you can't see. But no matter what's going on out there, we have to start to trust what we think and what we feel. We are thinkers and we are feelers. And what we think and what we feel creates. What we think and what we feel creates. What we think and what we feel creates. Remember, just 3, 5, 4 minutes ago, we were feeling it. We created it. So, Ernest Holmes also says this. He said, always there is that something hidden in our inner being that has never been violated. In other words, he's saying that there's something in you and there's something in me that has never been violated, never been tainted, never been harmed, never been caused to think anything but the truth. There's a part of you, or something in you and something in you and something in me that believes. That believes. Step 2, believe. You got to trust and you got to believe. Tell your neighbor, you got to trust and you got to believe. Tell your other neighbor, you got to trust and you got to believe. You got to trust and you have to believe. Part 2. In the introduction to the foundational teachings of the science of mind or metaphysics, belief. You've got to believe. So, for us then, it's not a matter of what we say. Belief is the sum total of what we think and what we feel. What we feel and what we think, not what we say. It's the sum total. So, for example, if you believe you are alone, you will experience it. And if you don't believe that your thoughts and your feelings are powerful, so powerful that they can change your current conditions, they won't. If you don't believe it, if you believe what you think and what you feel is so powerful that the unknown becomes known, that the invisible becomes visible, that the inaudible becomes audible, that what you haven't felt before, you start to feel. If you believe that, you will. Either way, you prove the law. Either way. If there is unbelief, you prove your unbelief. If there is belief, you prove it. The law works, as the reading stated. The mathematics are exact. The math didn't mess up. The math is still the same. It's the user. It's the user. So, if we think our words are so powerful that the unknown becomes known, once we start to know it, it becomes available to us. You have to know it before it becomes available to you. And once it becomes available to you, then it's yours to take. It's yours to receive. It's yours to have. It's yours to experience. But first you have to know it. And you also have to come to understand that your having it or my having it doesn't get in the way, right? If you got it, don't mean I can't have it. Or if if I got it, don't mean I got it all. And there's nothing left for you. No. It's infinite. It's limitless. It's without bounds. So, when you believe what you believe, then everything, when you believe what it is, and that you are what it is, that you are creative, everything becomes available to you. You do have to be open and receptive to it. You do have to want to understand it. Not it, but how you got it. You do want to understand the process of creation. In this teaching, we don't say, see it and you'll believe it. We say, believe it and then you'll see it. Believe it and then you'll see it. But believing is no small thing. It's no small thing. Remember in the Bible, the book of John, chapters 13 and 14, for those of you who are familiar with the Bible, some of you may not be familiar with the Bible. But anyway, what happens is that Jesus is talking to his disciples, right? This is, I think, 13, chapter 13. And he's talking about his looming death, right? he knows it's coming. And he knows how it's going to happen. So he gathered them and he like, listen, it's about to go down. Right? I'm not going to be here too much longer. I'm not going to be here too much longer. And so this was concerning to him. And so, as the Bible says, he took off all his clothes, except for a little bit, and he washed their feet. And he said that that the master is not greater than the servant. We're equal. We're equal. And some of them was like, oh, no, you can't do that. You know, they weren't receptive. You got to receive it. So he washes their feet. And then they go and eat, and everybody's sad, and the disciples, they're troubled by what's about to happen. And Jesus, he's troubled about, what's about to happen. And finally, Jesus says, wait. We tripping way too hard. And he says, let not your heart be troubled. And then he says, believe. Let not your heart be troubled. In my Father's house there are many, many mansions. And if it were not so, I wouldn't say this. He says, this ain't the end. All right, then they got, I'm coming back, you know what I mean? I'm coming again, all that. And so, if Jesus was here now, what Jesus probably would do, he probably started saying, yeah, remember, I did all these miracles. Remember? Remember the miracles? Remember the miracles? And then he probably would take his phone out. Because I'm sure he's an influencer. You know what I'm saying? I'm certain of that. So he got the videos out, he like, and the caption is like, Jesus turns water into wine. And then he got a video, right? And then he shows his video, he like, y'all see it? Y'all see it? I just raised the dead. He's like, y'all see it? Y'all see it? Y'all see the waters calming? They calm, right? They calm, right? So he probably take out his phone because he's an influencer and he's on TikTok. He's got videos with everything that he's done. And then he says to his disciples, look, I'm not the exception. I'm just an example. Y'all see everything I've done, right? Y'all saw me when I turned to the Father first and gave thanks. You saw me when I started to speak its high and its holy ideas and the waters calmed. Y'all see it? You was there with me. We've been doing this for some time now, right? And then Thomas was like, and then Jesus was like, so y'all know how to do it. And then Thomas was like, nah, we got nothing. No, we don't. Nothing. And Jesus was like, pray, turn within. God and I are one. God and I are one. Remember? And then he says, Jesus said to them, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one cometh unto the Father but me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. And from now on, when you see me, you see him. From now on, don't forget. When you see me, you've seen him. And then Thomas, Thomas was like, okay, you did some stuff. You calmed the sea. You made water into wine. That ain't enough. Show me the Father. And that's when Jesus was like, Thomas, really? That's what you're asking me? To show you the invisible? That's what you're asking me? To show you what's infinite? Thomas, really, really, really? And then Jesus goes on to say, God and I are one. And so what gets in our way of believing is we want to see it. We want to see what's invisible instead of feel it. We've got to believe it and we got to feel it. We got to believe it and we got to feel it. We got to feel it and we got to believe it. Don't let your desire to want to see what's invisible, what's eternal, and what's infinite get in the way of you experiencing it. That's what gets in the way. What gets in the way is that we are afraid. We're afraid not of the thinking and the feeling, but the action that follows the thinking and the feeling. When Jesus remembered, he got it. He knew he was going to be crucified. Sometimes thinking and feeling means you got to go another path. And everybody's not going to agree with it because they don't feel it. They're looking for it. They don't believe it. And you do. You got to feel it and you got to believe it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be moved into action then, because it does mean you're going to have to do something different. It does. What gets in the way of us believing? Well, some of us are so comfortable where we are. This teaching does not prescribe or subscribe to you that you'll be comfortable. But what it does say is that you can live a life of comfort. There's a big difference between being comfortable and living a life of comfort. You can be comfortable today and not comfortable tomorrow. But a life of comfort is eternal. It's infinite. It's boundless. There's a big difference. And the reason we stick with being comfortable is because it means that we don't have to stretch too much. We don't have to grow too much. What it means is we're not letting too much new in. You know, really, God is out there. But here's the thing. We are thinking and feeling and thinking. When we think about the thing, I said, think about love. Think on this thought, that you are loved. Well, love is out there. But when I said feel it, love is right here. Our work is to bring it here. That's why we are feelers and feeling. When you think about it, it's out there. When you feel it, it's right here. But the reason people want to stay comfortable is because they don't want to feel. Gosh. They don't want to feel. They don't want to feel good. If you don't want to feel, you don't want to feel. If you don't want to feel the pain, you don't want to feel the goodness. It's just the truth. So, the question is, how willing are you to think different? How willing are you to think differently about that? And how willing are you to feel differently? How willing are you to feel something different? How willing? That's the question. Because to change our experiences, to begin to have an experience of heaven, to experience this goodness, Ernest Holmes says, sometimes it takes time. And some of us, we just ain't got, we ain't got no time, right? I say, well, I want you to do this. I want you to, do this affirmation. I want you to do it for 21 days. How long? Meditate. You mean 5 minutes or 50 minutes? Just meditate. Just meditate. Ernest Holmes says it takes time. It may take time to reshape the basis of our thought, but we must commence by saying, I perceive that because I am what I am, because of this infinite thing that overshadows eternity and finds its abiding place in me, I know that good is now mine. All good. There's no mental coercion in this. We do not will things to be done. Things are brought into being not by will, but by the power of the self-assertive truth. The truth. Truth is an experience to be had. It's not the experiences that we have. Contemplate on that all week. How much can we demonstrate just what one can believe? How much can we see? How much can you accept? How much love can you see? How much love can you accept? How much abundance can you see? How much can you accept? How much of feeling whole can you see? And how much can you accept? How much can we find in our consciousness that is no longer repudiated by our own denials? Whatever that is, that's how much. Whatever that is, that's how much. The more open and receptive that we become, the more we experience heaven now. Practitioners, if you would come and join me as we prepare for prayer, I would like today to use the treatment that Hazel wrote for us for this week. In her treatment, she says, God is good, and all that God has created is good. For God is principle, and principle does not waver or change. Principle is always the same, always true. This is the essence of the oneness that radiates throughout and is the universe. It is truly a universe of good, of light, of life. As a droplet in the ocean of God that requested individual life, I am a representation of my Creator, expressing those same attributes of God in my being. I walk this earth with the full knowledge I am the blessed child of my Creator who denies me nothing. For I am forever its beloved, given everything, denied nothing. I keep my head to the sky, acknowledging the limitless, expansive that is my life. I no longer merely look at things, but I look into them, seeing their larger purpose, meaning, and value. I know all persons, events, feelings, and experiences in my life are there for a reason, are what I asked for, so the veil be lifted from my eyes, that I might truly see. I lift my eyes and turn my mind from the many travails of the world, for they are compelling and distracting, and keep me from seeing the face of God in my brothers and sisters. the truth of my being, the truth of their being and mine. Instead, I draw strength and joy from the unwavering law of life, which operates upon my word to bring that which I think upon and ask for into my life. I rely upon the law of good, a reflection of the oneness of spirit, to recognize in all things and in all people, we are here for our greater good, and even in error are advancing and moving closer to the truth, to salvation and love. It can be no other way, for God is good, and in God we live, breathe, and have our being. So I move forward in complete confidence that as I utter my words into the law, their echoes reverberate, changing the frequency of my being and my experience to one in harmony with the greater self and greater good. As I recognize and reaffirm my connection with God, I am never denied, but always lifted and always enlightened. In gratitude and joy, I release and let go of this prayer, knowing all is well, and so it is. Yeah. And so as we journey on throughout our week, believe, don't be afraid. Believe, don't settle for being comfortable. Believe it, and you will see it. And so it is.
And so it is.